The New Zealand Warriors are chasing Kalyn Ponga. Yes, breaking news here on Barry Charles. What is happening, Footy Show? What is happening um, in this scenario? Is this actually happening, or is it a whole lot of media beef up? Well, let's get to it right here, right now. Yes, New Zealand Rugby are also chasing Kalyn Ponga from reports out there. Um, do I actually really see it happening for the Warriors? I'm not 100% sure. Um, is CNK and Maire Martin going out the door? Well, that's the news around the traps at the moment here on the Barry Charles Footy Show. We're going to talk about it all here, right now for you. What's happening in the world of rugby league? Yes, the Warriors. Headlines all over the place that Kalyn Ponga is on the verge of potentially signing with the Warriors. Is this absolute hoopla, or is it going to happen? Well, I'm not 100% sure this will happen for mine. Because you're going to be signing 1.5 million plus to get him. He's already on this sort of money. Can the Warriors afford it? Potentially, but will they have to let go of some more players for that to happen? I think there's other positions that potentially will worth more. But from what I've heard, the word out of the camp that James Fisher-Harris did talk to Ponga about potentially moving to the Warriors. So we will see if this. I think it was more the Kiwis, but there could be more conversations about them coming to the Warriors as well. But let's look right in here, right now, what's actually supposedly happening at the Warriors right now. Tohu Harris gone pre-season. Johnson gone last year. Anfanua Blake gone. Then Dylan Walker is immediate release. Now there's talks that Maire Martin is going to be immediately released. Who's next? Talks that CNK is going to Catalans next year. Is this all happening, folks? This is happening in the real world of rugby league. Is it really happening? It sounds absolute madness to me. To have all this happening for the Warriors fans out there, it's especially when the team is actually going well at the moment. Losing all this experience, it just doesn't make sense to me at a time when you really, really need them. It just seems absolutely ludicrous to let go to Maire Martin as well in terms of having that bench utility player. We just don't really necessarily have it now. I know Lecker's done a good job, but I don't think he's the answer. He's a good player, but I don't think he's the answer for a utility role. So, yeah, it's just an interesting case of maybe Maire Martin doesn't do enough around the players, because I don't think he's a real big talker, and maybe that's potentially why he's been moved on. CNK, if he's going to the Catalans, what does that mean for DCE? Does DCE go within the Catalans? Does DCE, we're coming back to Jerome Hughes, does DCE go to the Melbourne Storm, which gives an early release to Jerome Hughes to come to the Warriors? Like, if DCE wants to win a comp, it makes sense. Will it realistically happen? Well, anything can happen in rugby league, but probably not, unless they want to move to Melbourne. And so if we got a Hughes or someone like that, is Tua Picky the answer at fullback? I think he's a good player. I seriously think he's a good player. Is he a top NRL player? My question marks around that. I mean, I think he might be better on the wing, to be honest. But like Tyrell Sloan, they're good players, but they're not going to win you the comp. Like Will Kinley at the Sharks, he's not going to win them the comp. I'll put him in that sort of ranking type of player. He's not up at the upper echelon. To be fair, he hasn't been given a full season there, so you could argue you haven't given him a full season. So you can't really say that's the case. Well, if you don't think Tua Picky's the answer and Charles Nicholl-Klokstad is gone, and Kalyn Ponga is a long shot, Keanu Kenny is the other talking one. But now he's got a serious neck injury and concerns about his career. Obviously, nothing's guaranteed from a surgery. Some people will retire early. It's a dangerous sign signing Keanu Kenny. And it's the same with the signing of this English guy, 21-year-old. If this happens, the second rower, who's concussion prone. Doesn't make financial sense to me to go for concussion prone players. It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, overall, what do the Warriors actually need with all this hoopla going on? What do the Warriors actually need? If you believe Metcalf's a number 6, out and out 6, you need a number 7. utility player. If you're not going to put if you put CHT there, then potentially that solves that issue. If you replace him by a decent halfback, a prop, I think we need a decent prop on the bench, or a starter if you're going to move Mitchell Barney to the second row, just to build that strength in the squad, have a bit more depth, and obviously a centre for mine. I think there's just question marks over the centres positions here. Really a good defensive centre would be ideal for the Warriors. So, if we're looking at fullback, obviously Kalyn Ponga and Kenny are the two talking points there. Centre, well, big talk Selwyn Cobbo has been talked to and is flown into New Zealand. If that happens, we will see. Joey Manu, if rugby fails, he might not be next season, but maybe the year after, potentially. Joey Manu comes home to play for the Warriors. Halfback, well, Hughes is the obvious one. DCE is obviously available, but highly unlikely he'll leave New Zealand. But maybe the Melbourne swap might be the reason that we get Jahrome Hughes if that was to happen. Utility, well, I think CHT is going to be the utility from what I'm seeing from all the talk around the place here. But does Luke Metcalf stay? That's another $1 million question. Is Luke Metcalf going to stay? Does Nicho Hynes a chance to come to New Zealand? Like, this is to get away from the pressure of the bubble bowl of Sydney. That could be a potential answer, but I wouldn't say at halfback, at fullback. If you want to put something totally out there, out of the blue, maybe that's an answer. Tyrone Wishart for the utility role if you're going to get someone in for that, for sure. And the props, well, Paynehouse and Tapane. Yes, absolutely. It's interesting stuff what's happening here. What's the most likely scenario there, folks? Who's most likely to come? Well, Jahrome Hughes would likely come if they have a direct replacement for Jahrome Hughes in the Melbourne Storm, like a DCE. That makes most sense. Ponga leaving, I think it would be at the end of the contract for sure. If Ponga was about to leave, I won't think he'll be coming next year. So, yes, so Hughes is the most likely. But what about other signings right here, right now? Well, I just want to give you an example if we did have Hughes. There's argument you could say DC is the better player than Hughes, for example. But it's been proven that you don't necessarily have to have the best. Well, there's a big argument here in rugby league because I could argue Cooper Cronk and Nathan Cleary are the best two halfbacks ever to play the game. And people are going to go, you're kidding me. Absolutely kidding me. Yes, in terms of talent, they definitely are not up with the Thurstons, the Andrew Johns, and the likes. But their records speak for themselves. Winning premierships. Yes, DC's won one. Johnson's won none. Andrew Johns won two. So Darren Lockyer won a few, but he wasn't number 7. Alan Langer. So Alan Langer won a few. But the rarity, so Alan Langer gets slept on a bit in terms of talent. You could argue he was up there with the better ones, but he did have a strong team. Ricky Stewart gets slept on as well. So this is, I'm just trying to give you an example who actually won premierships, and Cleary has done that 4 times. He's done that 4 times. Hughes done it a couple of times. But Cooper Cronk done it at 2 different clubs. So that's what I'm trying to say was here that if you're looking at consistency between Hughes and DCE, DCE's been good, but in terms of finals football, Hughes has been the more consistent one and maybe the better solution there. But as far the time getting to both of them, that's the question mark. And maybe Jalen Campbell's an upset chance of picking it. Selwyn Cobbo, I think if you're going to sign him, he'll be playing wing. If it was me and DWZ, that means Roger goes to fullback. You could have, and that would solve that situation there. Props, Joseph Tapane looks like the one. Paynehouse ain't coming. There's no doubt about that. Paynehouse is not coming to New Zealand. But Joseph Tapane, I know he re-signed, but if he got an early release, he could be one of the key into the situation here. But let's just put a hypothetical out. If we got Ponga and Hughes, you add them with Metcalf and Egan, CHT on the bench. It's the utility. That is a chance of being a premiership side. Will it realistically happen if you just say Hughes comes over and then Roger at fullback? I still think it's a very good side as well. Whether Roger is getting to the end of his career, that's the question mark you'd have to say around that. but I still think he's got it. But obviously, hamstring concerns is a big concern for him. But what about this season, Warriors fans? If they're signing this young guy, they want him now. I don't know if he would come now, but they might be next year. But what about this season? They've let go Walker. They've got money from Harris. So they've got over $1 million, from what I believe, to sign someone right here, right now. Would anyone want to come over now? Another player left out on the thing here, but Farlogo. Is he a chance? He would be someone you'd look at. If Jerome Hughes is going to Melbourne, boom, I'd sign Farlogo. That's where I'd look at. But you could argue that Tuapiki, I'd say Farlogo is above Tuapiki at this stage. But will Farlogo go downwards coming to New Zealand? That is the question mark over signing someone like him. We've got players like Ryan Madison, Bryce Scarborough. They could be handy pickups. Would you win you the premiership? Probably not, but these are handy players maybe for this season. And there'll be other players around that are not making, like a Blake Laurie who just bounced back, I think. But players like that are playing reserve grade. They would be potential good signings for the season here. Potentially need another utility player. This is where, and a prop, that's probably where I'll be looking at now. They've got enough to cover the centres for now. Unless some good centre come on the market, like Brandon Best and they resign, but he would be a type of player would be good for the Warriors. That sort of player. I think he'd be more impactful than Cobbo, to be honest. But anyway, that's just a little bit of the hoopla that's going on in the rugby league. Do I really seriously think Ponga's going to come to New Zealand? I seriously doubt it that he'll come to New Zealand. I could be absolutely wrong, but I seriously doubt he'll come. I think Jerome Hughes is the more likely option, but I could also see him retiring. Staying in Melbourne as well. But if the Warriors came up with a big play, over $1 million, then Jerome Hughes could come to the Warriors. Time will tell, but that's the crazy world of rugby league we're in. All your Warriors fans, up the wires, and let's have a great football as you enjoy the weekend, having the bye. And a guaranteed 2 points for the Warriors.